I hope all the MMA fans out there are not taking Ilia Topuria for granted, because I truly think we are watching the greatest MMA fighter of all time pretty much build his legacy right in front of us. And I know some people are going to say I'm being a prisoner of the moment. You can't be in GOAT talks with only 9 fights in the UFC, but peak for peak, prime for prime, tell me who has had a better run versus this level of competition. There has never been a 3-fight win streak this impressive. He starts off by winning the featherweight title by KOing Alexander Volkanovski, the greatest featherweight of all time. He had never lost a fight at 145, and Ilia Topuria just goes out, nukes him, puts him out cold. Then he defends that belt against Max Holloway, KOs him in round 3, a top 3 featherweight of all time. Ilia Topuria was the only man to ever knock out Max Holloway, and then he finishes that 3-fight win streak by moving up to 155, challenging for the vacant title, and he puts Charles Oliveira out cold. Oliveira, who is a top 3, probably at worst top 4 lightweight of all time. And so in that 3-fight span, 3 title wins, belts in 2 different weight classes, all 3 opponents are all-time great fighters, and these were 3 dominant wins and 3 knockouts that all had like these unique kind of firsts to them, right? First man to beat Volk at 145, first man to knock out Max Holloway. We've seen Oliveira get finished. We have never seen Oliveira get put out in the way that Ilia Topuria went out and put him out in that fight. And against those 3 all-time great fighters, he lost 1 single round in those 3 fights. Just an insane amount of dominance versus 3 incredibly skilled MMA fighters. And then I think when you look at him kind of outside the cage, the way he carries himself, he has confidence that really can only be compared to like a prime Conor McGregor. And I think where we kind of see where McGregor has gone wrong, it seems like Ilia has, his head screwed on a lot more straight than Conor McGregor. Just the way he speaks, it's so matter of fact. It's like he knows exactly what is going to happen. He says these things, and keep in mind, he's been like calling his shot like going back to the Volkanovski fight where everyone thought he was crazy and that Volk was going to show levels. He just says it like he knows what's going to happen. The fact that he's hosting like a celebration party, like he's won the fight the night before he actually goes out there and fights an incredibly scary and dangerous Charles Oliveira. He's like apologizing to him, saying he wished it wasn't him, when they're facing off. He called the round 1 knockout. And this was a fight where like there were a lot of things going on, right? He's moving up in weight. He has a new team. People were making a big deal about him, having new coaches heading into this matchup. This was definitely the toughest grappling test of his career, the biggest fighter he's had to go up against in the octagon. And it just didn't matter because he has so much belief in himself. His confidence is truly on another level. And then when you consider the fact that this man is only 28 years old, like I'm talking about how this is potentially the greatest peak in MMA history, he might not even be in his prime yet. The dude is 28. A lot of dudes don't hit their prime in MMA until they're like 31, 32, 33. And keep in mind that this is the same dude who went to a decision with Josh Emmett like essentially 2 years ago. And within 2 years, he has won 3 straight title wins and KOing 3 all-time great fighters. And so I think when we're looking forward to like what Topuria could realistically do here, it's tough to see him not continue to just rack up title wins, especially at 145. Like I think there are 3 very viable like next contenders, guys who are in the mix: Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett. I think you look at Gaethje and Paddy and you're just like, what could these guys even bring to the table that is going to like present any sort of problems for Ilia Topuria? I think Arman is the toughest test, but can he control Ilia and just grapple him for 25 minutes? Like I would still pretty easily take Ilia Topuria in that matchup. And I think you could see him, if he wants to stick around, just rack up those counting stats and tie or potentially beat Islam's record of 5 title wins. And then is he going to be the guy who goes out and just like hunts down Ilia Topuria up at 170? It's just so rare to be watching a fighter and just feel like everything they do is undeniable. You just know Ilia Topuria is going to go out and get the job done and do it in spectacular fashion. And then once again, just kind of bringing up the peak argument here, like my GOAT GSP won 33 rounds in a row, but he wasn't going out there dominating, finishing this level of competition. Maybe you point to like John Jones' streak of finishing Shogun, Rampage, and Lyoto Machida back to back to back, but I still don't think that's the same level of competition. And he didn't do it in multiple weight classes. You can point to Khabib with the finishes over McGregor, Poirier, and Gaethje, but same points. Like, I think the quality of competition was better for Ilia, and he did it at 145 and 155. And so at this point, I just think it's tough to not acknowledge his greatness. I think it's understandable to not be his biggest fan. Some people think he's cocky. Some people think he's arrogant. He's also KO'd 3 straight fan favorites, right? Going from Volk to Max to Oliveira. Like, those are 3 of the most beloved fighters in UFC history. But people always end up coming around. I mean, I remember when Volkanovski was like very unliked by the MMA community, right? Because he beat Jose Aldo, then he had the back-to-back wins against Max Holloway, and he was just beating all these super likable opponents. Now Volk is one of the most beloved fighters, and potentially a reason why, Ilia isn't a massive fan favorite here. And so at 28 years old, if he wants to chase the counting stats, rack up the title wins, I think he can. I think if he picks up 4 or 5 title wins at lightweight, so like 3, 4 more, I think that would probably stamp him as the GOAT. But even if he retired tomorrow and I needed to pick one pound-for-pound fighter as the best of all time, I think it is this version of Ilia Topuria. And so that's kind of all I've got for this one. I just want to give the man his flowers. He deserves, pretty much all the praise in the world after this run he has been on. Super excited to see his next fight. Seems like it's probably going to be Patty. I prefer to see the Arman matchup, but with how good I think Arman is, I think that fight is inevitable as long as he has, a few defenses here at 155. But am I crazy? Am I too high on Ilia? Am I a prisoner of the moment? Let me hear it. Or is he truly like an all-time great fighter with potentially the greatest peak in MMA history? Would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you all for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.